welcome everybody to the Determined Podcast. My name is Pasta Guy, and here with us today is uh, Ruamv2.0. I don't know how you pronounce her name.
Just pronounce it Ruamv. Or to make things easier for us, just call me random.
Yeah. Many of you probably haven't heard of them before because they are quite small. They are quite small small channel right now, and
50 followers.
eh, and yeah, but hey, this whole podcast is about is all about highlighting voices, big or small. So yeah. And speaking of big or small, the cast list for this episode is pretty small because I'm all by myself and with him.
But hey, it's a special episode.
Yeah, special episode, totally not because of scheduling issues. Yeah, I mean,
no, definitely.
Yeah, and also totally not because of the fact that the fact that we were supposed to do this last week, but instead of 2 p.m., I thought it was supposed to be at 5 p.m. and I got.
You serious? No.
Yeah. Ruamv. Okay, how do you pronounce your name? First off, so I don't sound like an idiot.
Okay, Ruamv.
Okay, Ruam. Okay, Ruam. How would you introduce yourself to those people that probably don't know who you are and all that?
Okay. Hello everyone, I am Ruamv2. I am the creator of Ruamv2.0 and also a part-time artist. I know a lot of you haven't heard of me before, but I'm slowly growing and evolving. And that is all I have to say for my introduction.
Yeah. Yeah, and for those who also don't know a bit about their AU, it is a version of Underfell, and that's like his own personal spin on it. And we're gonna be talking about this. And we're gonna be talking about it quite a bit on here for the next.
Puns are also welcome. Yes, and puns are also welcome.
Yes, puns are welcome. Alright, well, anyways, Ram, let's start with a pretty simple question. What got you into Undertale?
Now that is a very easy question. So I was just scrolling through YouTube, and then I started getting recommendations on to watch Undertale. My question was like, isn't that just a game about skeletons and evil flowers? So I watched it, and I immediately fell in love with the game. I downloaded the game, and I played it non-stop.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people seem to have that similar experience where they like find it on YouTube and stuff. That's one of the reasons why so many people it becomes it's become so prevalent like on YouTube and stuff. It's like so many it's like the basis for the Undertale fandom is it is like at least started a good bit on YouTube. I mean, we can talk about like Jacksepticeye's Let's Play or Markiplier's or any other big content creators Let's Play that basically that basically that's basically the reason why so many people got into the Phantom and stuff. So, so to build off that question a bit, what videos were specifically what
Okay, everybody is okay. Everybody is not going to like me for this, but the first Undertale video that was recommended to me was the Sans is Ness game theory video. I am literally not joking. When I pressed and watched it, I was one of the few people who actually liked it, and I was one of the people who didn't have to like trash talk to game theory. Still, I it was a poor video because of the haters. Like okay, I'll admit it's a bit of a far fetch, but at least it is backed with some good evidence. Okay, but sadly, ever since that episode, game theory has been referenced by saying, "Yep, this theory is the next Sans is Ness."
yeah, it is kind of it is it, it is kind of like one of those things where like a video just becomes so like infamous it basically makes it uh so that like no matter what else they do like in the fandom and stuff they're just gonna be like oh you're gonna do an Undertale theory, well aren't you the same person that was like Sans' Ness or whatever.
Yes, poor game theory. But I'm glad they were able to make it up with the three-part Gaster theory. Now, the theory that I like, even though my personal headcanons for Gaster aren't halves of Sans and Paris, I still think it's a pretty, very, very good theory. Let's give a round of applause for game theory.
Yeah. Any, anyways, yeah. So, yeah. Honestly, when it comes to game theory, like I used to watch Mad Pat uh, religiously back
Almost
in the
choked
day,
on my
but
water.
not gonna lie, not gonna lie, when the Undertale Ness's Sans video came out, that was kind of the beginning of the end of my personal watching of game theory, like religiously and stuff. Like I still tuned in to him regularly, but yeah, uh, yeah, I don't follow him all that closely anymore because of that. But anyways, all right, next question. Okay, so, uh, well, it's pretty clear how you got into Undertale. But since your story is focused is Underfell and and that I think it's also good to ask like how did you find out about Underfell? Like was it like did you like see like a comic dub for it? Did you uh it, it did you like see like a fan gameplay of it? What was it?
Okay, so I was watching Undertale animation shorts, and then I saw a comment dumb of what the fandom loves to hate on Blueberry and Carrot, which I do. First, I just want to say Blueberry does not deserve this much hate. Sure, Blueberry was the reason Popcorn Prince stopped working on their swap, but that doesn't mean people should just keep hating on it just for that reason. This is what I don't like about the fandom sometimes. It treats someone bad for one bad reason. That's just not what I like. Anyways, ranting over, in that comic dub, I saw a Sans with a sharp tooth. This comic was in black and white, by the way. I saw a Sans with more fluff and sharp teeth, and he was giving Blueberry Sans a lollipop so Blueberry Sans can go just sugar rush, just complete absolute sugar rush. So I was like, who is that? So I searched Sans with sharp teeth, and that is literally how I found Wonderful. I am not joking.
I mean, hey, that's fine. Like, for a long time, I found out about like AUs through pretty strange means too. Like, I didn't really hear about Underfell. Well, I first heard about Underfell when Starbot Dubs did a dub of it like way back in the day, like 2016. But but what really actually got me interested in it was seeing during a storyline in Drunk Cars slash Ask Frisk and Company. Ask Frisk and Company, they actually go to the Underfell universe, and that was the first time I actually saw much of anything from it. And I was just like, oh hey, this is kind of neat. I'm gonna I'm going to like follow this more and stuff. But yeah, quite honestly though, I am not the biggest Underfell aficionado. May I say so myself? I understand the concept pretty well. I mean, it is pretty easy. Hey, what if monsters were as big a jerks as humans thought they were? And uh, and yeah, I and yeah, there's a lot of different variations on Underfell, and so uh, and it's kind of is confusing to keep track of. Keep track of all the different versions of it. So 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 I could see why that AU in particular is kind of hard to get into. Uh, kind of hard to get into it for some people, but I do think it actually has really interesting concepts for the characters and stuff, and how the AU is the AU is both is similar to the game but also different. But yeah. Anyways, moving on. As a as a relatively new member of the content creating part of the community, uh, what uh, what are the challenges that you face, like trying to break through the mold and all that?
Oh boy, okay. Well, there isn't really a lot. First of all, I was worried that my art not good enough. Some a similar challenge that face a lot of people. Second problem is now I, I that wasn't the first AU I made. The first AU I made was this belief error, and it was hard trying to get popularity on it. I wouldn't exactly call this a challenge to face while doing Ruamv Underfell, but this belief error is just the reason Ruamv Underfell exists. The third thing I had trouble with, you think that just typing, yes, I just typing the story would be easy, but no. After you do like five of them in a day, your hands just start burning, like as if you just touched hell. So over time, I overcame that. And I was also worried that people won't like it because it's not a comic like most Underfell takes, like that one Underfell comic, or that right comic Underfell Desperate Times. Shout out to them. So I was worried that people wouldn't like that. But over time, I gained this slow, like not popularity as big as Vulture and Dork got, but I still gained a bit of popularity, and I also was able to get some support from my first Tumblr friends.
Yeah. Uh. Yeah. 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 It is. Yeah. A lot of those challenges are pretty are pretty challenging. But may I recommend Tumblr may not be the best medium for writing based AUs like that. Uh, it AO3 is more likely to be your speed because that is all writing based instead of mainly image based like Tumblr is, and secondly I've seen bits of your writing style and stuff, and as a writer myself, I believe there are some things that you could possibly improve on it. Like, for one, for one, uh, I know it's really easy to do the text chat like, this character speaks and this character speaks, but it's not uh, but it honestly, uh, it, but it's honestly not the best way of writing, especially if you're trying to make an own like separate a separate story and stuff that's unique from others, because because a lot of the time a lot of the real talent of writers is their descriptions and their way that they can just use words to create a world and all that. So yeah, I recommend going for a more like traditional like book writing style. And while this will definitely be more time consuming, you talked about how you make 5 posts in a day and all that. The thing about that is making 5 posts in a day. I mean, it is wonderful to get that like thing of like, yes, I got something done, and yes, people are out there and they're gonna read it and all that, and I'm gonna get and I'm going to get and I gotta get like get some like likes and a couple reblogs and all that. While that is a good feeling to have, that it that uh, well, that is a good feeling to have. It it is kind of pumping out that much content so quickly. For one, isn't all that isn't all that isn't all that sustainable, and two, it honestly it does affect the quality of your work if you just if you just keep pumping out stuff. That's where the phrase quantity over quality exists. What you should be striving for is quality over quantity. Basically, yes, they're harder to write and they take longer to come out, but it's far more likely that you will get noticed if you put a lot more time and effort into it to make sure you come up with a out with a quality product than you would say uploading five text chat type things a day.
Okay, listen, Pastor. Okay, let's take things step as a step. As for me writing on AO3, well, I do think it's a good idea. I still want to stick to Tumblr because only first of all at this point I should just keep going instead of switching to make it easier for my followers. And second of all, I just love being used to Tumblr. So getting used to a completely other app or website, it's not going to be ideal for me. And as for the 5 pods today, I was already one step ahead of you. Don't worry, I don't really do that anymore. And it's also the reason I made my blog not only a Ruamv2.0 blog, but an art blog where I post art. And in unlike texting, art when drawing like 5 drawings a day, it doesn't really burn me out. Though I will stop when I have reached my limit, which doesn't really sound that good. But friend, if you know me personally, you will understand. Though I will try to not burn myself out, especially since I am working on a FNF fan comic, Absolute Rage. It was based off of the Absolute Rage FNF mashup, man times holistic times agoti times genocide. Uh, I wonder if there's any people here right now who know what I'm talking about. But don't worry, I'll take into most of what you said in account. I'll just put it in the bottom, okay, friend?
Yeah, it's fine. Also with your whole thing of like not sure like to switch platforms and stuff. It is kind. I do understand that sort of fear of doing that because I because I used to start posting my fan work on Amino before I got to AO3, and the thing is, and the thing that you have to really understand is if you want a lot of the time people on Tumblr and stuff, they do like to read through posts and all that, but they're much more likely to just glance at your post and then scroll on to the next one because text isn't as like enrapturing as say a pretty picture and stuff. I mean, with that you could just you could just be like, hey, that looks nice, and press like, and then scroll on to the next thing. While with writing, it's like you have to actually read through it, and that's perfectly fine, But but when it comes to writing, if you actually want these people to actually know to actually read through all of what you're saying and stuff, going on to a medium where it, on say AO3, where it is much more apt for people to actually read through stories because it is mainly a fan fiction website. That is uh, that is that is very that is uh, that's very important. So yeah. Anyways.
Okay, okay.
All right. Well, moving on. We actually have some pretty interesting questions in the chat.
Ooh,
This is from Unova. Hey, Unova. Always glad to have you here. Which medium will your AU be? Comic, animated series, game, sprite comic, etc. Like I know you already said like it's mainly just text right now, but with you also being an artist, I'm wondering if you may want to branch out at some point with that.
well, funny thing, you see, after I type, I take a bit of a rest and I start drawing some of the scenes I drew. Funny thing, uh, today one of my friends requested the fight scene between my Ruam under 12 Risk and my Ruam under 12 Papyrus, like not like a whole fight battle comic, no, just like a scene. So I might consider turning it into a comic, but for now it's part writing, part comic, if you will.
Yeah. Uh. Uh. Also, next question again from Unova. Do you have any fears or goals with your AU? Do you strive to be one of the big wig AU creators, such as Glitchtail or Underverse, or are you fine with being a small creator?
Okay. Let's be real here. So my original objective was yes to be a big you, but now I am fine with being a small creator. I mean, I'm fine with the beautiful 50 followers I have. Yes, we've hit 50 followers today. I made 2 posts about it.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, when I started making content, I was all about like, yeah, like I'm gonna write something that's like so good and stuff. People are gonna want to like draw it and all that, and they're gonna and I'm gonna I'm gonna be like one of those big people that gets like it gets millions of people to watch my stuff, and yeah. But eventually, I'm just like I'm relatively popular on AO3, which if you want to go check out my AO3, it's in the description. But after that shameless plug, anyway, I but for right now, I'm just like yeah, I like where I am. I got some videos with like. I got some videos with some big view counts. I got I get to talk with some pretty cool Undertale creators every now and then. It's pretty good. I've made some good friends because of this fandom. So yeah, I'm fine where I am right now, honestly.
Yeah. Mm.
It's Alright. Was there another question? I don't know if there was. Oh, this is from Howling Wolf Gaming. Is the disbelief error discontinued?
Well, first of all, hi, Mary. How you've been doing, friend? And second of all, I am still deciding on that, but sadly, most likely, yes. I mean, it wasn't really a comment to begin with. It was just an ask blog for my disbelief error, also nicknamed as Buggy. But yeah, sadly, it's discontinued. Sorry, Mary. I just want to focus on one Wonderfell at the moment.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm also someone who likes to focus on one thing at a time when it comes to creative work. But yeah, going back to the official questions list that I got, what do you think sets your version of Underfell apart from all the others? Because, like I mentioned before, there are like dozens upon dozens of different interpretations of Underfell. So, what do you think sets yours apart from others?
The characters. Absolutely, definitely, 100% without any question are the characters.
Uh, could you go a bit more into that?
Okay, sure. Now, while some of the personalities aren't changed that much, there are some that change. For example, Sands and Papyrus, they are the biggest change. Not only their personalities, they kind of act like their UT counterparts. They're not the also evil UF Papyrus and UF Sands, which I have nothing necessarily against it. Which honestly, I'm pretty sure these two are the mascots at this point.
Uh, mm, yeah. Honestly, I've said this a lot. Uh, honestly, I've said this a lot, but to me, the most important part of storytelling is characters. Characters is a character. I think it's like if you have good characters, you can put good characters in any situation, and it'll be interesting to see. Like that's why people can make like literally like the Undertale crew just say going out to the grocery store and people absolutely love because the characters are so well and it and yeah, there are just so many other different characters that are that fit this example, and I just think of the fact that that the character in particular is the most important aspect of storytelling because from how I see it, if you have good characters, they'll have good character interaction. Good interaction produces good conflict, which produces good stories because all stories need at least some amount of conflict. I mean, they don't need to be say oh, we gotta save the world and stuff. I mean, the conflict can be just as simple as hey, I need to get my laundry done sometime today. So uh, so yeah, but basically, you saying you're focused on character and or you saying the characters being the most significant uh being the most significant change for most Underfell AUs and stuff is quite is quite interesting because of how important I personally put character above a whole bunch of other aspects of writing. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of character, here's another question about it. Characters and their roles are important in the making of an AU. How, especially one that's like a retelling of and Friska's going through the underground again and all that. So I'm just wondering, how do you consider the characters and their roles? Like, how do you consider like putting them in the places that they need to be and all that?
Okay, let us see. So first we have Frisk. They are the shy protagonists, but after learning about a bit about monsters' history, they are determined to make every monster happy. They're basically it's kind of like savior. Then they don't plan to break the barrier. They just plan to make every monster happy with where they live. Next we have Flowey. Flowey, he serves as the best friend to Frisk. Yes, in case you didn't notice, it's kind of like Tara and Ezreal being best friends. Anyways, but he's sick of the underground's nature, so he wants to help Frisk. At first, he told them to fight, but after a very emotional scene, I thought I would never write. Flag was convinced that Mercy is also an option, so that's his role. Next, we have Napstablook. Now, even though they look like the original Napstablook or the fan Napstablook, whatever, they are actually more depressed, and but they're actually more open about Metaton. Sometimes they'll just say, "Oh, why did you leave me?" Which, fun fact, actually happened when both of them first met. He will attack out of fear when something surprises, but when he sees a closer inspection on them and sees that they're friendly, he will leave them alone and most likely reward them with something, which again actually happened after the Napstablook fight in Roman Underfell, where he gave Frisk a spider donut. Next, we have the poor Toriel. Now, she is not the Coco crazy UF Toriel, but she is sad, okay? But but she gets even more angry when she tries to leave. At first, she was helping. She was going to help Frisk help them leave, but then she just couldn't bear the thought of the other poor six ones, so she battled them. But Frisk was able to calm her down. Another emotional scene that I thought I would never write, and bada bing, bada boom. Next, we have everybody's favorite skeletal comedian, Sans. This Sans is close to his UT counterpart, like I mentioned before, though he's a bit more open about some things, but he also has to keep two promises. Yes, two. And for obviously, I'm not going to reveal what those two promises are, or if you know the other promise, I'm not going to reveal it for spoilers. All I can say is that he has to protect Risk. He made another promise that at the end might be a bit of a problem. Next, we have the Great Papyrus. He is the optimistic leader of the Royal Guard, and but you see, he's also a bit complicated with humans. If the human is nice and not dangerous, he'll be friends with them and help them with puzzles. But if they try to leave, he will get a bit lonely. Similar to Torreira, I think, now that I realize it. But if they are dangerous, he won't even hesitate. He will be sad, but he won't even hesitate to just attack them. He won't hesitate. And next we have Monster Kid, which I just basically made like I was. They're too, ever since the Underground's nature, they've been a bit too scared to say their opinions, but they are very open with Frisk, since Frisk doesn't mind their opinions. And finally, since I'm only chapter 3 in Romander Fell, Undyne, well, she's a bit more personal, if you know what I mean. She's gone a bit crazy because, again, I won't spoil too much, but something happened in the past between her and someone else, and that's basically it. I will reveal at the end some things, but that's it for now.
All right. Well, I can see. I can see that you thought a good amount about all this, which is good because, like I said, character is the most important aspect to a story. But
Yeah, but fun fact, Elfie's was the hardest one. It wasn't her personality, but her just basic design. It was just plain annoyance. I tried to make it look like UF, but not look like UT too much. And I also wanted to make her look unique because one of the objectives in my Roam Underfell, I want to make it unique. Anything that a person recognizes that just shatters the uniqueness. Oh my lord, the uniqueness of Ruam Underfell. But I was able to come up with something for her, so that's good.
yeah,
Anyways, please continue.
yeah. Uh, uh, there is the whole thing about like, oh, you gotta be unique and all that. Where honestly it's like honestly it's like people are like, oh, everything has to be unique and stuff. Well, technically nothing is unique at this point. A lot of stories are remixes and stuff and all that. So remixes of different aspects of stories, like how Star Wars is like based off like a whole bunch of stuff, like say, like you could say samurai movies, uh, uh, Flash Gordon, a whole bunch of a whole bunch of other 1950s space Americana, and uh, and yeah, basically basically what it is just trying to what it is like a lot of people say like, oh, we need more original stuff. What they actually mean by that is like we want something still similar, but something that feels different. It feels different. It is using a different story formula than most the most pieces of media have been using recently and stuff. Like it, it there there is just it is just simple to think about. It is just kind of it is a bit like confusing to think about how to basically be like, oh, be unique and stuff, but also have a bit of like a spark of something to connect with your audience that's like something familiar. Like yeah, say another example. Another example is with it is with the popular series Pokemon. Pokemon is like filled with like it has a lot of strange concepts and all that, but but the concept is simple, and people have, and even before then people had already thought of like, hey, what if animals but had like elemental or other types of powers and stuff on them? So yeah, that's basically my advice to you. Basically, you shouldn't focus too much on uniqueness, but you should more focus putting on out a quality product that will that will catch the eyes of people, because people will take because people will take a lot of people will take a lot and not complain about originality if a story is good enough. So yeah.
Uh, I mean, that was before I started talking about the story of Ruam Underfell. So don't worry, I don't worry too much about my uniqueness. And by the way, when you mentioned Star Wars, I was like, am I really going to say this? Which I'm going to say right now. I'm going to say right now. I've only watched the latest Star Wars movie, and don't make the same mistake I did, because I was like, wait, what? I am so confused. What is going on? And
Well,
when you mentioned the book,
you came basically like Yeah, you basically came like it's a 9 movie film series, and you came in with the last one, so of course you're gonna be confused. But also there's the thing with that where the latest Star Wars movie isn't all that good. So yeah.
And by the
So
way, when you mentioned the Pokemon, I was immediately thinking of my Discord profile and my Tumblr profile because you see, Pikachu is just my Ruam's design. Yes, this Pikachu is Ruam, my OC. He is basically the perfect definition of me. I was always obsessed with goggles and then so that's what you see right now. But he's also my same personality and my same, like it's just an exaggeration. Like I'm shorter than I'm shorter than how tall I'm supposed to be. So yeah. Anyways, again, please do continue.
yeah. Uh, honest. No, just to get a quick with a quick side to end it for a bit. I'm more a fan of Raichu over Pikachu. Uh, for a couple of different reasons, but yeah, Pikachu's still cute. So's Pichu and all that. And honestly, though, my favorite Pokemon is Sceptile. Because of just how awesome, but also how adorable he is. But yeah. Uh, anyways, honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I just thought of Pokemon because I looked up from my desk and for those who don't know, I have a whole bunch of plushies and stuff, and I looked up and I saw my Raichu and my Vulpix plushie, and I was just like, oh yeah, Pokemon, that's a good example I could use. But
Oh
anyway,
wow. Okay, wow.
well, I also thought of
And
your
also,
profile picture.
oh, why? Thank you. At least I'm getting. I'm also getting on for something else. And also, I do hope you mean alone, right? You. I don't. I'm not going to hate you if you like the Alolan one looks better. But if it's okay if you like the original one. So which one is it? The Alolan?
I like both.
Okay. Okay. Again, please do continue.
All right. Well, to get back a bit more on topic. All right. All right. Okay. So the next question I have for you is well actually about it's actually about a bit about what we were just talking about, uniqueness and all that, and that is what inspirations do you take from other AUs and other sources of media to create your story?
Okay, so a username on Tumblr name Hi, I'm trying to Underfell is currently making another comic based on their own Underfell, obviously. And I'll be honest with you, their Frisk's personality is my Frisk's personality. I was inspired from them. And I now that I think about it, it's a bit with the flowers. But it's not just hi. I'm trying to Underfell. There's also another Underfell take that I heard of, and it's called Underfell Desperate Times. And okay, it's just much better than mine. It is a sprite comic, obviously, again based on an Underfell take. Well, they say Underfell take version story they go. And let me just say, the ideas they have are mind blowing.
Hmm. I never actually heard of that version of Underfell before. I heard of the hey, I'm trying to Underfell uh story before, uh, but I hadn't heard of Desperate Times before you brought it up. So yeah, may have to check that out later, considering how much you just praised it. So, yeah. Another
Yeah.
yeah. When it came to say writing when it came to creating my own stories, and for those at home, take a shot of your apple juice or whatever the heck you're drinking because I just mentioned my own stories. When it came to my own stories, I took like bits and pieces from different AUs, but I also took different bits and pieces from the shows and video games that I played. Like I added like a dash of like say Kingdom Hearts, a dash of Evangelion, a dash of a, a, a dash of Steven Universe into my I guess creative soup if I'm gonna continue with this metaphor. But 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 yeah. It, One of the things I remember back in the day, I used to complain about this a little bit, uh, where a lot of the time it seems with like newer AU creators, a lot of the time they only seem to like use like Undertale AUs and Undertale related media to to get ideas for their stories and stuff. When in actuality, you should be taking whatever bits of stories and whatever bits of stories that really fit your fancy and can really fit inside can really fit to make a good to make a good story uh because there are always like there are always be there always be like little things that is uh little things from like a TV show you're watching or like a bit of dialogue you hear from a character in a game you're playing and stuff. They're gonna be like, hey, that's good and would fit with one of my characters. Maybe I could rework that into something new and different. So yeah, just so 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 yeah, basically don't feel like you should be limited to specifically Undertale related stuff, and this didn't really like directed towards Ram. It's more it's more directed as like just a general sort of sort of like a general sort of piece of advice that people watching this can take into account. So yeah.
I am taking notes right now. Okay, yes, I will definitely take that into account. And also, just so you don't make yourself look like a fool, just say random, okay? You see,
Ram, sorry.
V2.0, yeah,
Ram,
it stands
sorry.
for Random UTAU Maker. So random, just call me random because let's be honest, Steve, that's all I am at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you're that random. I mean, been able to keep we've been able to keep pretty consistent and all through this through the about 51 minutes we've been doing this. Which holy crap, we've already been doing this for about an hour, which is crazy. But
Holy.
yeah.
Oh, well, Sorry, it's just been a while and I didn't even realize it. I was so into this podcast that I just didn't realize the time.
Well, that's what Einstein says. Time flies when you're having fun. So yeah, I guess that means we're having a pretty good time here. So that's nice.
Okay, good. Anyways, next question, please. I am ready for whatever you want.
All right. Well, again, uh, uh, what projects do you have planned in the future for both your AU and personally?
Okay, what do I have for my AU? Well, first of all, I'm planning to make 6 chapters, each with the allocation of each Undertale list. It's like chapter 1, the Ruins of Regret, chapter 2, Ice Fortress, chapter 3, Cavern of Fear, and I'm not going to spoil the rest. And after I'm done with Ruamv2.0, do you really think it would be considered? No. At first, I was considering putting up a poll if I should do an alternative timeline, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or I should do pacifist comments. comics. But now I've decided I'm just going to do pacifist comics of it. I'm done with it. Besides, I already have a few comics in mind and a few pacifist designs in mind.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Uh.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. What? One of the things one of the things I did when I first made my story, which I mentioned this a couple times, but the first version of my story actually wasn't the version that you could like go and read now online. Like I've deleted the original version of my story from the internet, which of course on the internet really just means someone has to like take a bit more effort than usual to probably find the original version. But anyway, I go. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed is that originally, Out of the Void, which is my AU and I'll add for Undertale, I thought, hey, do you? This is going to be your this is gonna be my magnum opus. This will be it for the Undertale fandom. I'll write this fic, and then I'll just peace out. But then I finished the first version of it. I looked back at it, and I was just like, hang on. So my magnum opus, the thing that I, the thing that I, this thing that was supposed to be the thing that was supposed to be my big contribution to the Undertale fandom, I finished in about 2.5 months, which that in itself isn't that bad. But also looking over it again, a lot of the time, how it was written, it felt like a description. It felt like a Wikipedia article of my story more than an actual story itself. So yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah. So yeah, honestly, when you finish your first like big project and all that, uh, project, it is pretty fulfilling, but it also is a time to self reflect and think, hey, is that the best version of it I could have done, or could I have done things better? So yeah, I'm just warning you, like, since you say that you're only gonna have 6 chapters, which means you're already halfway through your version of Underfell, I'm just gonna say right now that even if you do finish it like relatively soon, there will be a part of you that's just like, hey, there's stuff that you could have done that you could have done better. That you could have done better, and I know people say like, oh, follow your dreams, and don't let anyone like put you down, or like don't put yourself down and all that. But honestly, some healthy self criticism is perfectly fine. I mean, as long as you take that criticism and actually use it, instead of just like say laying on the ground and just wondering why you make anything if everything's just so bad, and you're just a terrible creator and just shouldn't make anything. Yeah. Any, anyways, do have an
Next question.
yeah, we do and this one's from the chat as well.
Ooh,
Helen Gaming asks, do you have any ideas for Car? Do they do the narration for Frisk? So yeah, what are your ideas on Kara for your AU?
okay, so before I started posting, I was thinking what I would do for Kara, and I'll just be straight up honest. There's not gonna have there's just going to be but sometimes Frisk will hear a voice narrating them, though they will just later just shrug it off as a weird feeling. So spoiler alert: I am planning something big in chapter 6. So yeah, do we have any other questions from the chat? Because I'm interested in what the chat has to ask us.
Well, uh, there's this one Matty C fella that's just like I want to ask him to say to, to say hi. So yeah, it, he said they say can you say Eli says hi.
Okay. Hi.
I think that's an in joke with the two of you. So so I'm sorry if I'm not completely I don't completely understand what it is. So yeah.
One more question from the chat, and then let's move on to the official questions you have.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Doesn't seem to be too much from the chat. Too much from the chat for your question. For questions, so I guess we'll just go back to the official list that I made. So, yeah. Since we're talking so much about Underfell, I thought I'd ask some specific Underfell Underfell questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Which sadly, I think the first question I came up with it specifically for Underfell, you pretty much already told me what it was, but I guess you can state again. What's your favorite version of Underfell?
Okay, while Ruam Wonderful is basically my child growing up, one of my favorites, and I'm rant about them again. Underfell Desperate Times, 100%, like definitely 100%, and I'm even good friends with Mr. Snrub. Did I say that name right? I hope I did. The creator of Desperate Times. So yeah, Underfell Desperate Times.
Yeah, could you explain a bit more about Underfell Desperate Times because that makes it unique from Underfell stuff because I am a bit interested in it.
Okay, well, first of all, is the human who currently has no name. The human, first of all, no one's narrating them. They talk under similar to TC Underswap or Team Switch Underswap, however you pronounce it. Yeah, the human can be very. What is the right word? Very like sarcastic at times, and sometimes when they're about to get into the fight, they start apologizing. And they also wear glasses, which is just another good feature. Next, we have Flowey, who, according to his character page, he is just gone insane by the power of the save and loading, and he is keeps trying to kill them. Next, we have Toriel, who similar to mine, which, by the way, my Toriel is not inspired from her. Oh, the Toriel is just completely depressed and honestly does not care about humans ever since the last encounter with a human. There's this incident in Desperate Times where the sixth human, an adult male, just caused a complete rampage, similar to the waterfall incident in Averted Fate. So she has not been doing well after that. And Napstablook is just, well, he's depressed, is more depressed like mine, but in a rude kind of way, similar to the famine. And while Sands and Papyrus have not, we haven't gone into the Snowden part of this. We still know a bit about them. Sands who is actually leading a gang in Snowden, who is constantly doing robbing, mugging, whatever you call it. And his name, and Sands uses a code name whenever he's on duty. It's called Skeleton. Fun fact: when I was talking with Rob, I asked him how he came up with the with the idea of scalloping, and I was absolutely shocked but understood at his answer. He said that he was just playing Spider-Man and King, and he thought of Kingpin, and he was like, "Oh wait, why not scalloping?" Which blew my mind, but at the same time made sense for me now that I thought about it. And for Papyrus, well, you think Papyrus would be a royal guard, but no, he got court-martialed. Um, Papyrus basically comes in a tent, stops Sans' gang, but you see, there's one person the Papyrus or even the royal guard can't beat, Grilby. Grilby is not only a close friend to Scalapin or Sans or whatever, um, he is also the right-handed man, which do not mess with him. I know one of my friends is watching this, and they love Grilby, so they would pretty much simp for this Grilby. But yeah, and finally, Undyne, she she basically influenced the entire royal guard. They've become more savage, and that caused Papyrus to get out of the royal guard because of that. And whenever anybody, when you can ask the characters on the Tumblr, by the way, whenever someone mentions anything about Papyrus Tonda, she just goes quiet, and same thing goes for 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 Papyrus, and that's basically all for them now, which is kind of funny since it's kind of similar to mine, except they're still in the ruins part. But yeah, that is basically Underfell Desperate Times. Oh my god! Oh, and there's one more thing. Apparently they did an underswap move and put Mad Dummy in at the beginning, and apparently they have the horns of Asgore and the crown. So Toriel beats him up because uh, Mad Dummy reminds Toriel of a certain king. So yeah, she beats the hell out of him, and well, he's basically Mad Dummy from Undertale and Underswap. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm done now.
It well, that's fine. It, well, it's fine that you talked about. Uh, uh, it talked about it. It talked about it a good. It talked about it for a good bit because because well it's because one of the things that honestly after the Undertone podcast, which for those who don't know wasn't the greatest, one of the criticisms that I received after that was the fact that uh, it was that I didn't let the actual creators speak all that much. I kept like forcing it to be like, hey, let's talk about my stuff or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. If you just want to like go on and talk for a bit, that's fine. But yeah, as long as you stay on the topic of Undertale, and possibly your own AU for a good bit. So yeah. Anyways, all right. So speaking of Underfell, who is your favorite Underfell character and your favorite Undertale character?
Okay, let us see. In Undertale, it's a tie between Sans, Papyrus, and Metaton. Yes, I am one of those Metaton fans. In Undertale, in Underfell, fella, the creator of Underfell. I do not mean to like attack you. Don't take this as an insult. I'm not much of a fan of the Underfell Metaton. But the only thing I like in the original Underfell are basically the canon Sans and Papyrus. The reason I'm emphasizing canon is because the fanon has made the Underfell Sans and the Underfell Papyrus into something that it's just not my cup of tea, if you will.
Mm.
So Canon underfill and Canon on Canon underfill Papyrus and Canon underfill Sands are my favorite characters in Underfill.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Those are good choices. I mean, you do know that I am more of a fan of Metaton than most. Oh, darlings.
Okay, now you just ruined Metaton for me. Congratulations. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just wasn't expecting that. And I have some good plans for Ruam on the well metaton. But anyways, why not to move on to the next question? I am once again I'm prepared for any questions. Maybe from the chat,
Well,
but
yeah, yeah. Just reminders in the chat. You can ask anything. Well, as long as we're okay with it. But yeah, uh, it, uh, uh, but yeah, this is actually a question that I've had in my head for a little bit. Considering you mentioned it, or you mentioned something along the lines of it earlier. You stated that there was like a super hard to write scene that you were just like, I'm not sure if I can actually write that scene or not, and uh, uh, and you're just, and I was just wondering, and, and I was just wondering what made you feel like with that scene that made you feel like you had the impulse that you couldn't do it for whatever reason.
I think I know what you're talking. You see, it wasn't the hard part was you see I'm not really what you call making emotional scenes because I'm not an emotional drama kind of guy. No, no, no. So it was kind of hard to do that. But after I was done with it, I was like, okay, so at least it wasn't as hard as expected. Let's hope the others I make aren't as hard. And then literally two posts after, no, not two posts, like 5 posts after, there was another emotional scene which was actually easier. But after that, I was like, maybe I shouldn't add so many emotional scenes just so I don't burn my brain because, like I said, I don't think of emotional scenes that easily.
Yeah, emotional scenes can be quite hard to write. Like I have legit being completely honest. I have cried at just some of the ideas I've come up with in my head for stories and stuff. Just like no, yeah, it 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 it. And yeah, emotional scenes are hard to do, especially for something that a lot of the time isn't really all that super emotional. Uh, uh,
Well,
so
that
it's super
well
emotional.
that'll
Uh, I'm sorry, I have a bit of a stutter. Okay, it's sometimes better and sometimes it's worse, but apparently right now it's not all that great.
No, that's not what I'm laughing about. I'm laughing. It's not the stutter. It's just how we just kept talking at the same time. It was just hilarious. And before you say anything, so we don't have to face that again. It's not the reason that you mentioned that you cannot write emotional scenes isn't because it's actually emotional for you. I just can't really think of them well. And my brain actually hurts when I try to think of them. So, anyways, yeah.
Well, to be a complete nerd, actually, your brain doesn't have any pain receptors. It's actually your skull that hurts, and it, but getting more on back on topic. It is hard to write those scenes, and also, but it is one of those things where like it's with everything. If you do something more, most of the time you're gonna become easier. It's gonna become easier to do. Like like drawing or writing or something. You might struggle with was saying like, oh, I can't do emotional scenes all that well. But if you like keep working at it and keep trying to and keep like listening to people, listening to people and improving and all that, you should be fine because because writing is something specific. It is a lot of time it is like any other skill. If you keep working at or yeah, you should be able to do it. Uh, the but that's not to say like some people are just can't write write some scenes as well as others and all that. It's, so there may be like a line where hard work and trying to improve yourself, you may reach it and stuff, but don't let that discourage you into like trying to improve your writing when it comes to say emotional scenes and all that.
Amen, Pastor. Amen.
Yeah. Anyways, question from the chat. Would there be
Ooh.
something like a Ram swap fell swap sometime in the future? This is coming from
Okay.
Howling Gaming, Howling Wolf Gaming again.
Oh my lord, she is on fire with these questions. Anyways, a good question. So, Ruamv Swapville was actually something I considered it. I'm not going to make a story for it because it would just not like be ideal. I'm just going to like head cannons on what it's about. I might even make head cannons about it soon. Like I might make Ruamv Swapville. Kara tomorrow or after tomorrow, and for the rest of the characters that have been revealed in the original Wonderful, yeah, I might do that. So thank you, Mary.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like with Undertale, it's like so sometimes like TC96 will draw Undertale in like the Underfell style or the story or the Underswap style and stuff. But a lot of the time it's just like just a one-off thing. You don't have to actually like commit to doing that. So yeah. Oh, Stickman at uh, uh, Stickman made a pretty funny comment. How to make any AU real quick? Get any AU, double it. It's a new AU. Does dis, disbelief belief. Dust. I mean that is how some creators uh some creators do come up with stuff. It's like, hey, so how do we like make a new AU? Okay, so what if it was Underfell, but for like say story shift? So it's like story fell or shift fell. Yes, and that's how a lot of people come up with it a lot of the time. Which I'm not saying that uh, which I'm not saying that there isn't you can't make a good idea off of something like that. But it is pretty easy to come up with, and honestly, the people who come up with those ideas a lot of time that are just like kind of come up it's something like that super easily and all that. A lot of times don't have the like talent or well uh, or well, let's say more motivation to actually make something interesting off an idea uh, about that. So, yeah. Anyways, continuing on with the next question. No question for the chat, so we'll just go back to the
Did you
official
really
list.
just say that?
Do what?
You did like a French accent when you said questions. Why?
Because I'm a weirdo, okay? I'm talking about I read a podcast talking about an indie game that came out like almost 6 years ago. At this point, I'm not exactly normal. I will do random voice changes sometimes, but yeah. Anyways, the next question from the official list is okay. All right. Do you with do you have do you have any original story ideas in the works beyond fan works and all that? Like, do you have like actual original ideas, like with original characters?
Well, no, but the closest thing is I don't have a title for it yet. Basically, kind of like a rip-off version of Madness Combat, except it's you kind of don't see it. While it's not, while I did make some original characters, it is based off of the Madness Combat series. And in case for one of the Madness Combat series, just search Madness Combat and just see Madness Combat 1 to 11. Don't worry, it's not a movie. The maximum each episode take is like 10. It's a really good show, and I recommend you watch it. How do I know it's a good show? Ben really is a mod, the tricky mod, a character from Madness Combat, so I recommend watching Madness Combat. But like I said, I did make a rip-off version of Madness Combat, but that's as original as I can give you right now.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it took me a while after making fan creation stuff to be like, hey, what if I did, hey, what if I did, like a story about my own ideas and all that, with my own characters, but the thing with it is, I'm reminded of this one piece of advice that I was given in from this one YouTuber called GCP Gray, which where he explains that the more you write, the more ideas you will have for writing. Basically, if you keep working at something, the more ideas you'll have for the something you're doing. So yeah. Anyways, Howling Wolf Gaming asks in the chat, any ideas for changes about the amalgamates?
Oh, oof. Okay. Now, I don't. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler question. I don't want to spoil too much, but not. I'm just gonna straight up say it. I may not add a true lab scene because, like I said, Frisk isn't going to break the barriers. And in case you haven't noticed, in Undertale, you need to fight Asgore and then go to the true do some side quest, then go to the true lab and then go fight Ezreal to break the barrier. But I'm not planning for a barrier breaking, so I'm just going to say that there's not going to any be amalgamates. I cannot talk right now.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the thing. That seems to be one of the things. It's like there's sometimes with a lot of characters in AUs where where a lot of time people are just like that people just completely forget about them, honestly, or sidelining them. Like Metatut is a pretty good example because in a lot of AUs he is just a lot of the time he is just like, oh yeah, you're here too, aren't you? Along with say other characters like Asgore and Asriel. Sadly, precious boy, why don't people give you the time of day? Anyways, the the amalgamates are pretty big problem. Have a pretty big problem with that. Uh, uh, where a lot of time people just don't know what to do with them in their AUs or stories, or don't even really think about them all that much because it's kind of a feedback loop. The fandom doesn't talk about them that much, so they don't so people don't get ideas for them that much, and it just kind of spirals. I mean, Dogs of Future Past by Links Griffin is probably the biggest example of someone actually using the amalgamates for a really interesting story. If you guys, any of you watching this, haven't read it before, please do. It is just one of the best Undertale stories just ever. I love it to bits. But yeah,
Will
uh,
do. Will do.
yeah. Howling Wolf Gaming ass, and I believe this is supposed to be a joke, but what about Rob F Jerry?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there are a bit of dust in the Ice Fortress slash Snow Ice. Thank you, Murray, for these names. But while not so many monsters are dead, Jerry is definite. I am not adding like. I think it's pretty clear at this point that Jerry is reasonably the most hated character in Undertale in any AU, and I am, even if this is a fair universe, I am not putting him. I look, just pretend you're putting a Jerry in front of me right now. I'd imagine I'm bringing a gun and shoot him in the face. And you know what's annoying? The man doesn't. He was one of the reasons I had so much trouble doing a genocide route. By the way, I did multiple just because of the sense, right? I kept shooting, punching, you name it, and the man wouldn't die. The man wouldn't die, and it took me forever until finally he died. And by the way, I remember watching a video where someone hacked the real knife and heart locket at the beginning of the game, and they still had a hard time killing Jerry. So Jerry is just basically dead in this universe.
Yeah, uh, Stickman asks, I think we had already gone over this, but do you have any inspiration from other Underfell stuff? I mean, we already talked about the main two sources of your Underfell, for your Underfell AU, but I guess there's probably a couple more that you could probably think about.
Now, there's one that has combined, and okay, so it was actually the reason I made Ruamv Underfell. Now, have you ever heard of PSB on Underfell?
PSD Underfell. I have not, like I said. I'm pretty sure I said this before we actually started recording, but I am not the biggest Underfell aficionado. I am less into the like, oh, what if they went through the underground, but it's like different and all that. When I am more focused on say post pacifist type Undertale stories a lot of the time, because I like seeing where the story goes from there. Also, it's way more likely that my precious boy Azrael will show up. So, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, PSB Undertale or Undertale Rusted was going to be an Undertale take, obviously, made by a YouTuber known as Potstablook. Did I even pronounce that right? Anyways, so they were going to make an Undertale take, and 2 years ago they were doing pretty well. They made so many sprites, thought of a good story, and then rest in peace, because they cancelled it. They didn't want to do Undertale, which I understand. Which I was so pretty sad that it shut down. So do you know what I decided to do? I decided, a lot of Underfell fan games and Underfell stories have been cancelled. I'm going to be one of the people in this streak. So that's basically how Ruamv Underfell was made.
Yeah. All right. Well, I only have about one or two more questions for you. So, and we have been going for about 90 minutes. So I think I'm gonna start to wrap things up here. So yeah, those in the chat, if you want to put any more questions out there, that is completely fine. But my final official question to you, which has kind of been my final official question to a lot of Undertale creators for a while now, is how do you feel about your standing in the Undertale fandom, like you personally and your story?
Well, I feel pretty good being in this fandom. Though, of course, it can make some mistakes. Like, I giving skeletons tongues. I repeat, giving skeletons tongues. For me, it just made zero sense. But I still glad I'm in this fandom because we wouldn't be here now, would we?
No, it would not.
Yeah. Also, Pasta, I hope you didn't forget a certain something that we were going to do when we wrap up. Remember?
Yeah, that. Yeah. So, one of the things that Rom did for all of us is that he actually made some artwork for us. So yeah, I'm gonna start to get that on the screen now. And yes, random car. Get that on this. Get that. I get this on the stream so you guys can see it, which is once again I'm very glad that you actually did this for us. Like, this is I believe our first real fan art that we've gotten from this that we've gotten for this show. I mean, there's probably definitely a whole bunch of other people. There's probably some other fan art out there that I might be misremembering, but honestly, I don't think we're that big for it to really really have that much fan art of us yet. So yeah, well.
Cap. You are capping right now. When you said you aren't really that big, yeah, sure, as if freaking Vulture and Dork wasn't here before. I'm pretty sure, like, a few people don't know you, but you are definitely big. And even if you aren't big right now, I guarantee you, you are going to become the biggest podcast in the Undertale fandom. And just like you told me in that on that Tumblr post, you are a real promise, Pasta guy. You are a real promise.
Yeah. I guess you can really say that. All right. Well, luckily I've stalled. I've stalled for a bit. Stalled for a good enough bit where I can actually start to where I can where I can actually start to show off the artwork that you made for us. So yeah, gonna put it into a slideshow, which I will. Which for those watching and are artistically inclined, we would love fan art for the Determined podcast. Like, obviously you don't have to do it, and honestly me just saying like, oh, please do that is probably a lot of you are just like well, I don't want to do it now because they told me to. But yeah, and anyways, yes. So let's get okay, good. For a second, let's All right, let's get these. Let's get these pictures up here. So yeah, looking at the chat. All right. Okay, so all right, so. Sorry for this bit of awkwardness, but I honestly forgot about this, so yeah, okay, so yeah, we first have the thanks for watching. We have the Turbine Podcast itself, a little heart and a bow tie and a mic. That's nice, and we also have a strong thing where the heart is also in a bow tie, and is it wearing a golden ring?
Wait, really? No, no, no. But I'm surprised you didn't point out the fact that it has gloves. But maybe I will add. I'm planning to remake these soon, so maybe I will add a ring. But no, currently it does not. You most likely just not seeing.
Well, well, I I look forward to when you do. When you do. When you
Me
do.
too.
Yeah, redo that artwork for us because, like I said, always love it when we get artwork. Anyways, though, that is going to be about it. Actually, thank you so much for coming on, Rom. And thank
You
you.
know what? Yeah, yeah, good enough, good enough.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you all for joining us here today. Uh, Hopefully next time I won't be by myself because not gonna lie, I was a bit lonely. I miss Cupcake.
Yeah, cupcake. Anyways, Pasta, it has been an absolute honor to be on the Determined podcast. And for those who are watching currently, be sure to check out my Tumblr. And I hope you also have a good day or night or whatever time it is for you. Because remember, we are we are we care about your health. That is all I have to say now.
All right. Yeah. For the Deterrent podcast in general, though, our next guest, not really sure who it's gonna be just yet. I have a couple of ideas, along with my other podcasters, which there's gonna be a special announcement for most likely the next episode, hopefully, where I introduce my new co-commentator. I won't say who they are, but let's just say that they've been really helpful to me personally, and also have been a good friend of mine for a while ever since they got onto the podcast. So yeah. Anyways, I believe that's it. Have yourselves a great night. Take care, and remember, stay determined.
Stay determined.
And we'll see you all